Welcome to the debate. Today, we are tackling a fundamental tension at the heart of modern search engine marketing and digital strategy. It is an argument that happens in boardrooms and marketing agencies around the world, like every single day. The conflict between driving raw, top-of-funnel traffic versus building a meticulously optimized, high-converting digital infrastructure.
Yeah, it is the classic struggle between the sales team and the engineering team, really.
Exactly. And the central question we are exploring today is this. Is the ultimate driver of digital growth the aggressive scaling of market share and sheer digital volume? Or is it the flawless technical optimization of your platform to maximize conversion rates and actually protect your return on investment?
Right. And we're grounding this discussion in the digital marketing methodologies of Miguel Ferreira at mfmd.pt. He's a full-stack web developer and digital marketing specialist who has spent over 6 years bridging that often massive gap between data engineering and digital strategy.
I will be representing Ferreira's data-driven, infrastructure-first methodology today. I will be arguing that highly optimized campaigns and, well, flawless technical foundations are what actually drive sales. From this viewpoint, dumping your budget into raw traffic without a finely tuned conversion ecosystem already in place is a dangerous, almost reckless waste of capital.
And I will be coming at this from this strategically aggressive perspective typically held by growth-focused business owners. From this vantage point, scaling top-of-funnel traffic, generating clicks, and capturing sheer digital volume is the primary, indispensable engine for dominating market share. Because frankly, without that massive influx of traffic, you simply do not generate the behavioral data required for any subsequent optimization. It really boils down to visibility first, perfection second.
To lay out the infrastructure first position, we have to start with one of Ferreira's core philosophies, and that is that a project without a clear strategy is just scattered code. It is an incredibly common, very costly mistake in the industry. The majority of companies will happily invest thousands of euros in ad campaigns before they even think about fixing the critical flaws on their own platforms. They pour money into Google ads or Meta ads, but their site architecture is a complete mess.
Well, they are focused on getting people through the front door.
Right, but it is like paying for a massive, expensive billboard to advertise your new retail store. But when the customers actually show up, the front door is stuck, the lights are flickering, and the cash register is broken. The result is entirely predictable. You get wasted traffic, elevated bounce rates, which means people leaving immediately, and completely unsustainable customer acquisition costs.
I hear you, but
Just to finish the thought, from Ferreira's perspective, chasing sheer volume and obsessing over vanity metrics like gross impressions is actively dangerous to a business's bottom line. True digital success has to be built on technical SEO, robust business intelligence through a proper Google Analytics 4 integration, and ruthlessly eliminating latency. Latency, a slow website, is the absolute enemy of conversion.
sure.
If your server is slow or your domain routing is misconfigured, it really doesn't matter how many clicks or brilliant ad generated. The user is going to bounce before the page even loads. You must build the intelligent, active agent first. That means ensuring things like flawless accessibility compliance and a perfect Google Lighthouse score, Google's own grading system for how fast and functional your site is, before you open the floodgates.
I understand the appeal of that purely technical perfectionism. I really do. But you cannot convert an invisible audience. Clicks and impressions are routinely dismissed by technical purists as vanity metrics. But they are absolutely not. They are essential hard indicators of market penetration and brand visibility.
Are they, though?
Yes, absolutely. If you obsess over achieving a perfect 100 out of 100 Google Lighthouse score, or if you delay your launch for months to ensure flawless WCAG compliance, which, for those unfamiliar, is the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, making sure every single subpage works perfectly for screen readers and accessibility tools, if you do all that, you are drastically delaying your market entry.
But you are ensuring that when you do enter, you actually capture the market.
While you are perfecting your code, your competitors are acquiring your customers. Look at the evidence from the Moxer case study. Moxer is an industrial machinery company where Ferreira led the digital evolution. One of the key performance indicators of their massive digital dominance was achieving over 15 million digital impressions.
Right, but
They scaled to over 9,000 online products and managed 70 distinct brands. That level of market dominance simply does not come from quietly sitting back in a dark room and tweaking server caching. It comes from aggressive, high-volume visibility. You need that massive top-of-funnel traffic to capture market share, and most importantly, feed the search algorithms the data they need to eventually optimize your campaigns. You have to cast the net to know where the fish are.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective on those 15 million impressions. Raw clicks drain the budget incredibly rapidly if the site is not optimized to handle them. The methodology we are examining is very clear on this. It is not enough to be findable. Your business must be understandable by machines to be relevant to humans.
Okay.
When a business owner says they just need more traffic and runs broad Google ads without precision, they are usually paying a premium for entirely irrelevant clicks.
But how irrelevant is it if it gets eyes on the brand?
Extremely irrelevant if it drains your daily ad spend before lunch. Think about how search engines are evolving. If search algorithms like Google's new AI-driven SGE, the Search Generative Experience, cannot read the back-end context of your site, they won't understand your content.
You're talking about schema markup?
Exactly. Schema markup. It is essentially handing the search engine a perfectly organized map of your site's brain, so it knows exactly what you sell, what your prices are, and if you have it in stock. If you don't have that infrastructure, the algorithm will send you traffic with the completely wrong search intent. You end up paying for a click from someone looking for a DIY tutorial when you are trying to sell heavy industrial machinery.
Well, that is exactly why vanity metrics are a trap. 15 million impressions mean absolutely nothing if the underlying architecture isn't translating that visibility into qualified transactional actions. Broad reach without precision is just subsidized window shopping. Subsidized window shopping. I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why. Broad reach is the only mathematically viable way to test a market of that size. When you're dealing with a massive catalog, like integrating a back-end inventory ERP system with an e-commerce platform to manage 9,000 individual product codes or SKUs, you cannot logically micro-target every single item from day one. You have to cast a wide net initially. Scalability requires massive traffic volume and broad search engine marketing campaigns to capture the necessary data.
But aren't you just paying to train Google's algorithm at that point?
You are paying for business intelligence. How do you refine an audience without first observing how a large, diverse set of real human users interact with your catalog? The sheer volume is what provides the behavioral data. If you restrict your campaigns to only the highly optimized, hyper-specific search intents right out of the gate, you choke off the exact data pipeline your analytics tools need to function.
I wouldn't call it choking off.
It is, though. You need those raw impressions to feed into GA4 so that you can later look at the dashboard and determine which segments are actually converting. You can't analyze empty rooms.
The problem with casting that wide net first is that the net itself is often full of holes. And this brings us to Ferreira's concept of the Web 5.0 era, where the technical infrastructure must be a prerequisite, not an ongoing reactive process where you fix things as they break. Let's look at something as basic as image optimization.
Okay.
Ferreira's approach emphasizes converting all legacy image formats to next-generation WebP formats. We do this to ensure the site loads in milliseconds, which directly improves your core web vitals, Google's scorecard for how clunky or fast a site feels to a user. If you drive massive traffic to a site with heavy, unoptimized assets, you are actively degrading your quality score on Google Ads.
Which might raise costs slightly, but it doesn't stop the traffic.
It doesn't raise them slightly, it severely penalizes you. You pay a significantly higher cost per click for every single visitor simply because Google recognizes your site provides a poor user experience. And it goes deeper than just loading speeds. Deploying proper security protocols, web application firewalls, SSL certificates, DDoS mitigation via platforms like Cloudflare to prevent the site from crashing under attack, this is critical infrastructure.
I agree, security is important.
A vulnerable site or a misconfigured DNS actively destroys the ROI of an ad campaign because Google Chrome will literally flag the site as not secure, throwing a giant red warning screen in front of the user. That instantly kills user trust. You cannot treat infrastructure as a secondary concern when it directly dictates your advertising costs and your basic conversion viability.
Look, absolutely no one is arguing that you should run a vulnerable, broken website. No one wants a giant red not secure warning. But positioning advanced technical infrastructure as an absolute prerequisite to scaling traffic fundamentally misunderstands how digital businesses actually grow. Yes, modern image formats and passing core web vitals are important, but look at the more advanced tools Ferreira utilizes, like deploying generative AI chatbots trained on proprietary business data or writing custom Python automation scripts to microsegment campaigns.
Those are exactly the infrastructural advantages I'm talking about.
Right, and they are brilliant, highly technical solutions, but they are entirely secondary to getting actual human beings to the site. Traffic is the oxygen that fuels the entire digital ecosystem. You can build a technologically flawless platform, you can have predictive analytics, real-time personalized experiences, and chatbots that speak 5 languages. But without aggressive traffic generation, you simply have a perfect, beautifully engineered, entirely empty digital store. The infrastructure serves the traffic, not the other way around.
Let's ground this in a specific, highly successful example from Ferreira's portfolio to see how it actually plays out. The IDA CCI project, which is the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Aveiro District. This case study perfectly illustrates why technical revision and infrastructure drive the most meaningful results, without just blindly buying traffic. When Ferreira modernized their digital infrastructure, the bottom-line conversion metrics were staggering. They saw form submissions more than double, and file downloads jumped by over 5 times.
Those are great numbers, sure.
They are transformative numbers. And how was this achieved? It wasn't by just throwing money at Google Ads. It was achieved through meticulous technical revision and massive content optimization, covering hundreds of news items and events. It involved implementing the Web Speech API to allow bilingual voice-dictated search, which greatly enhanced the site's accessibility for users. It included the full, rigorous implementation of a dynamic consent banner and privacy-compliant cookie policies. These are purely technical, user experience, and infrastructure improvements. They didn't just buy 1 million clicks, they built a system that captured user intent perfectly. It proves that technical SEO and a frictionless user experience are the true catalysts for real transactional action.
That's a compelling argument, but have you considered the other metrics reported in that exact same AIDA CCI case study?
I'm looking at the conversion metrics, which are the ones that matter.
You have to look at the whole picture. Alongside those impressive conversion numbers, the forms and the downloads, the project boasts a massive 400% increase in site clicks and well over 150% increase in total page views. First-time visits more than doubled. You are framing the success entirely around the technical revisions, the privacy banners, and the voice search integration. But the underlying catalyst for those increased form submissions was, undeniably, a massive surge in top-of-funnel traffic.
But the traffic wouldn't have converted if the site was broken.
The technical optimizations ensured the site didn't break under the load, yes. But you do not get a 5-fold increase in downloads without drastically expanding your reach and getting more people to the site in the first place. The rigorous configuration of ROI-focused campaigns on Google Ads, Meta Ads, and LinkedIn Ads was fundamentally required to drive that 400% increase in clicks. The infrastructure caught the water, absolutely, but the advertising and the aggressive traffic generation are what made it rain.
That's a fair analogy, but that rain is only profitable if the cost of acquiring it is tightly controlled. And that brings us to the crucial element of automation and budget efficiency. The traditional approach to scaling traffic, the one you're advocating for, where we just cast a wide net, relies heavily on guesswork. You throw a large budget at broad audiences and you just hope for a return. Ferreira's methodology explicitly states that guesswork is dead. By utilizing custom Python scripts to automate data collection and analyze real-time behavioral patterns, the entire marketing strategy shifts from intuition to empirical precision.
But automation still requires data to analyze.
With surgical accuracy right from the start. You aren't just buying clicks and hoping they work out. You are utilizing business intelligence to identify the exact user profiles that have the highest mathematical probability of conversion. This drastically reduces the cost per acquisition. When you use back-end tools like Google Search Console and GA4 to replace assumptions with hard data, you protect the client's budget. You ensure that every single euro spent is an investment in a highly probable conversion, rather than a speculative bet on a broad, generic demographic. It's the difference between a sniper rifle and a shotgun.
Efficiency is crucial, certainly. I will never argue against lowering the cost per acquisition. But over-filtering and hyper-targeting can severely choke a company's growth potential. When you use Python scripts to micro-segment campaigns with that kind of surgical precision, you are necessarily narrowing your audience. You are focusing only on the users who fit your existing predictive models.
Because those are the ones who buy.
Right now, yes. But while this absolutely reduces wasted clicks and lowers the immediate costs, it also entirely blinds you to adjacent target audiences. Casting a wider net via the Google search and display networks allows a business to discover new buyer personas and market segments they might have completely missed if they only ever focused on high-probability conversions. Sometimes, the absolute best data you need to find your next massive growth channel comes from the so-called inefficient clicks, that broad, top-of-funnel traffic that doesn't fit neatly into your current predictive model. If you filter out everything that doesn't guarantee an immediate ROI, you optimize yourself into a very profitable but very, very small corner of the market.
That's an interesting point, though. I would frame it differently. I would argue that true digital growth requires treating the website as what Ferreira calls an intelligent active agent. It is not just a digital brochure waiting for traffic to stumble upon it. It is a complex, proactive mechanism designed to capture, retain, and convert. Think of it like hiring a top-tier digital salesperson who never sleeps. The evidence we've explored strongly suggests that prioritizing technical SEO, ensuring rapid load times, and building clear, secure conversion funnels must take precedence over superficial traffic spikes. When you build the architecture correctly, when you map entities for the search engines, ensure top-tier lighthouse scores, and secure the domain, you create a sustainable digital asset. That asset converts traffic at a highly efficient rate, which ultimately protects the business's capital and ensures its long-term viability.
And while a high-converting, technically flawless infrastructure is undeniably valuable, I maintain that the lifeblood of any digital operation remains aggressive visibility. The Moxer and Ada CCI examples both demonstrate that significant business outcomes are inextricably tied to massive increases in digital impressions, clicks, and page views. You must test the market. You must scale your reach and generate the sheer volume necessary to gather meaningful data. Without that aggressive push for market share and top-of-funnel traffic, even the most beautifully engineered, perfectly accessible, intelligently automated site will fail to scale. As I said before, the engine is impressive, but it needs fuel to run.
It is clear we both agree on one fundamental principle, drawn from Ferreira's methodology: guesswork is dead. The era of running digital campaigns based on gut feeling or intuition is entirely over, and hard data from advanced business intelligence must dictate our strategy moving forward.
Absolutely. We are in complete agreement that data is the ultimate arbiter. Where we continue to respectfully diverge is simply on the sequence of execution and the primary driver of scale. Is it better for a business to prioritize capturing market share through sheer traffic volume first to generate that behavioral data? Or must a business perfect the conversion infrastructure first to protect its budget from wasted clicks?
Which makes this a particularly valuable discussion. Considering both the volume-driven perspective of a growth-focused business owner and the rigorous, efficiency-driven methodology of a technical expert like Ferreira, provides a much clearer picture of the modern digital ecosystem. We suggest our listeners explore their own digital metrics, look closely at your analytics dashboards and your website's performance scores to see where your true bottlenecks lie. You might find you need more visibility, or you might find you just need a better system to capture the visibility you already have. Thank you for joining us on The Debate.